Hello, I'm Ron Foreman with Imagine Performing Arts, and welcome to Imagine This. Now, our first performance will be from Carla Beard. Now, Carla's been an educator all her life, English teacher. She's always wanted to write, and once she retired from that, she decided it was time to write. Now, her latest adventures have been with the McCarnahan series, and she's been doing those for about 2 years. And when asked why she does it, she says, well, it's cheaper than therapy.
Hello, I'm Margaret Carnahan, and I teach math at Hamptonville High School. Now, Iris and Helen had long careers at Hamptonville. Iris taught English, and Helen taught family and consumer sciences. We called it home ec back then. They were friends, but there was always a little competition between them. Iris would get a new haircut, and within a few days, Helen had a new outfit. Iris came in one morning at the first of the school year with a couple of beanbag chairs that she picked up at Walmart on clearance. Those desks, she said, they're so uncomfortable for those teenage boys with their long legs. Maybe they'll be more willing to read in class if they have a comfortable seat. Well, the next Monday, Helen brought in several floor lamps she had picked up at yard sales over the weekend. She had read some research that said fluorescent lights in most school classrooms actually contributed to some learning problems. She said the softer light would work better. And it was like that back and forth all through the school year. Motivational posters, door decorations, a colorful rug to cover the drab classroom tile. Each one trying to outdo the other. Each one claiming it was for the students. We started keeping track. The science department was rumored to have a pool on who would win. At the May faculty meeting, we were all surprised to hear that Bill and Maria Grossman had decided to retire. They were looking forward to taking their RV to visit the grandkids whenever they wanted to. Bill and Maria had been the junior and senior class sponsors for years, and between them, they had worked out a 2-year cycle. The juniors were in charge of the winter dance, and the seniors planned the prom. Bill stayed with the juniors when they became seniors, and Maria took over the new junior class. Being a class sponsor was a 2-year commitment. When Mr. Seymour announced at the faculty meeting that they were looking for new class sponsors, several teachers whispered, "Don't look at me." But Iris spoke up. "I'll sponsor the junior class." Iris was already the sponsor of the National Honor Society. She would be working with a lot of the same kids. It made sense. But when Helen said she'd take the senior class, no one said too much. Helen threw herself into it. She got busy with her students and her parent volunteers, and prom that next year really was quite lovely. Instead of using the school gymnasium, they rented a large white tent and had prom on the soccer field. One of the parents was a professional hot air balloonist, and he offered romantic evening views of the full moon. The newspaper headline the next Monday read, "Up, Up, and Away," and called it the best prom in recent memory. Even Iris said that it was wonderful. And then she went home and spent all summer trying to decide how to make the next prom bigger and better. And by September, she had a solution: fireworks. One of her parent volunteers, Dorian Wofford, was the local fire marshal. He said he'd help her out. With a little arm twisting, the school board approved it, and they spent the winter planning. Spring came, and a large white tent, a little larger than last year's tent, was once again in place on the soccer field. Now, Hamptonville High School sits on the edge of town, and the soccer field sits on the last flat piece of land before the hills start to roll gently. And there's a creek that marks the edge of the school grounds, and there's a 10-foot bluff on the far side. There's some exposed limestone rock face there, and every spring the science teachers ask the owner, Phil Bartlett, if they can bring their classes to search for fossils. And Phil's happy to let them. His own kids went to school there, and now his oldest granddaughter, Zoe, is a senior there. So when Iris contacted Phil to ask if they could launch fireworks from the top of his bluff, he was happy to say yes. This was Zoe's prom. Now, Phil used that field to graze cattle, so he suggested that the fireworks guys might want to wear boots and watch out for cow pies, and he promised that he would corral the animals for the night. Phil had a bull that he needed to keep an eye on. 10 years earlier, it had been Zoe's 4-H bull. She named him Draco Malfoy. And he had won grand champion at the county fair. But when it came time for the auction, Zoe burst into tears and said she just couldn't part with him. So Grandpa bought him and brought him back to the farm, and Zoe visited every Sunday. Draco Malfoy turned out to be a good investment. He produced many a calf over the years. He was also very protective of his heifers. Sometimes late at night, a young couple with romance on their minds would park along the county road and cross the field, headed for the woodlot on the other side. If the cows were out, Draco Malfoy would chase that couple. Phil got used to finding blankets and flashlights and the occasional bottle of wine in the middle of his field. He finally hung a sign on the fence. The farmer lets you cross the field for free, but the bull charges. Now, Phil had a new young heifer, and he thought she might be coming in heat. He got the heifer into the barn for the night and locked Draco Malfoy in the pen outside. Draco was disappointed. He knew that heifer was coming in heat. Dorian and his buddy Sam arrived at 7 p.m. to set up the fireworks and have everything ready once it got dark. Sam kept an eye out for Draco Malfoy. Seems the two of them had met before. But the bull was focused on the heifer in the barn, so Sam kept on walking. The guys got to the edge of the bluff, set up a long 2x6, and organized their fireworks shells. They made sure they had a couple of buckets of water, just in case, and they sat down in a couple of lawn chairs to wait for dark. They got to talking about their own proms. It didn't seem like that long ago, but Dorian's son was down there in a tux, and Sam's daughter would be there next year. Around 9 o'clock, Iris texted Dorian, and he said they were ready. The prom goers moved outside. And Iris thought to herself proudly, who needs a hot air balloon? We've got fireworks. Up at the barn, the heifer was coming in heat, and she was feeling a little anxious. When the first shell was launched, the exploding fireworks startled her. And by the third boom, she was looking for a way out of that barn. And she found one. Phil had pulled the barn door too, and that was usually enough. He hadn't secured it. By the fourth boom, she was out the door and running through the field. Draco Malfoy noticed this. He ran around the pen a few times, found a timber with a knothole that had rotted a little, and managed to get out. He was planning some fireworks of his own. Dorian and Sam down at the other end of the field had no idea this was happening. It was dark, and they were launching fireworks. Bright red sky flyers, a couple of falling leaves, a green ring shell. Dorian and Sam could hear the laughter and the oohs and ahs floating up on the night sky. Behind them, the heifer zigzagged through the field. She would run when there was a loud noise, and then stop when it got quiet, and then boom, and she would run again. Draco Malfoy was close behind. Eventually, they ended up down at the bluff. The heifer found water in one of the buckets and started drinking. Sam heard it and turned around, and there was Draco Malfoy, staring him in the face. Sam stumbled backwards. He bumped into Dorian just as Dorian was launching a shell. Dorian dropped the flare he was using to light the shells and accidentally launched the cluster that had all of the shells for the finale. The night sky lit up. Now, as the fire marshal, it fell to Dorian to explain to the insurance people what happened next. The best he could figure was that the first rocket arced up like it was supposed to. But the rest went straight across the soccer field and into the old wooden press box at the back of the football field, where they broke through a window and then boom, 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 they caught the structure on fire. As prom goers watched in horrified amusement, their cell phones out to capture the moment, the press box burned to the ground in a blaze of comets and zippers and colors. The newspaper headline on Monday read, "Disaster at Prom." The school board voted that all future proms would take place in the gym. Iris was embarrassed beyond words and resigned as senior class sponsor. Only the thought of her daughter's upcoming college expenses stopped her from resigning from her job altogether. One of the guys in the science department bought a round of beer at the next after-school faculty meeting. Wouldn't say why. And the following January, that heifer gave birth to a bull calf. Phil named him Sparky. Thank you.
Now, our next performance is going to be from Olivia Rickman. Now, Olivia's been playing her ukulele and singing for about 17 years now. And when asked why she likes to do it, she says, well, she considers her talents a gift from God, and one should never waste a gift from God.
This is Moving On by Paramore. Let them have their time, sit back and let them shine, let them rise and rise, one day they're gonna fall. Let them soak in the sun, sit back and let them have the fun, let them spill their guts, cause one day they're gonna slip on them. Well, I could be angry, but you're not worth a fight, besides I'm moving on. I've counted to 10 and I'm feeling alright, besides I'm moving on. Let them play their songs, let them say what's right and wrong, let them do their things, that'll never be you and me. We got our own style, we got a way of living life, and if they can't get down, well, we don't need them around. Well, I could be angry, but you're not worth a fight, besides I'm moving on. I've counted to 10 and I'm feeling alright, besides I'm moving, yes I'm moving, besides I'm moving on. This next one is a little sad and it's called All Too Well by Taylor Swift. my scarf there at your sister's house, and you still got it in your drawer even now. Oh, your sweet disposition and my wide-eyed gaze, we're singing in a car, getting lost upstate. Autumn leaves are falling down like pieces in the place, and I can picture it after all these days. And I know it's long gone and that magic's not here no more. I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all. So there we are again on that little town street. You almost ran the red 'cause you were looking up on me. Wind in my hair, I was there, and I remember it all too well. Photo album on the counter, your cheeks are turning red. Used to be a little kid with glasses in a twin-size bed. Your mother's telling stories about you on a t-ball team, thinking about your past, dreaming your future was me. But I know it's long gone and there's nothing else I could do. I forget about you long enough to forget why I needed to. So there we are again in the middle of the night, dancing around the kitchen in the refrigerator light. Down the stairs, I was there, and I remember it all too well. Yeah. Maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much. Maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. Running scared, I was there, and I remember it all too well. Hey, you called me up again just to break me like a promise, so casually cruel in the name of being honest. I'm a crumbled up piece of paper lying here, so remember it all too well. Time won't fly, it's like I'm paralyzed by it. I like to be my old self again, but I'm still trying to find it. After plaid shirt days and nights when you made me your own, you mail back my things and I walk home alone. We still keep my old scarf from that very first week. Reminds you of innocence and it smells like me. You can't get rid of it 'cause you remember it all too well. So there we are again when I love you so. Back before you lost the one real thing you've ever known. It was rare, I was there, and I remember it all too well. It was rare, and I was there, and I remember it all. Wind in my hair, I was there, and you remember it all. Down the stairs, you were there, and I remember it all. It was rare, and I was there, and I remember it all too well.
Now, Daniel Phillips is going to be our next performer, and Daniel's going to do a reading for us. Now, Daniel's been pretty much performing all his life, and when asked why he does it, he just loves to be the star of the show.
Roald Dahl's The Tummy Beast. One afternoon, I said to Mummy, "Who is this person in my tummy? He must be small and very thin, or else how could he have gotten in?" My mother said from where she sat, "It isn't nice to talk like that." "It's true," I cried. "I swear it, Mummy. There is a person in my tummy. He talks to me at night in bed. He's always asking to be fed. Throughout the day, he screams at me, demanding sugar buns for tea. He tells me it is not a sin to go and raid the biscuit tin. I know quite well it's awfully wrong to guzzle food the whole day long. But really, I can't help it, Mummy, not with this person in my tummy." "You horrid child," my mother cried. "Admit it right away, you've lied. You're simply trying to produce a silly asinine excuse. You are the greedy, guzzling brat, and that is why you're always fat." I tried once more. "Believe me, Mummy, there is a person in my tummy. I've had enough," my mother said. "You'd better go at once to bed." Just then, a nicely timed event delivered me from punishment. Deep in my tummy, something stirred, and then an awful noise was heard. A snorting, grumbling, grunting sound that made my tummy jump around. My darling mother nearly died. "My goodness, what was that?" she cried. At once the tummy voice came through. It shouted, "Hey there, listen you! I'm getting hungry. I want eats. I want lots of chocks and sweets. Give me half a pound of nuts. Look snappy or I'll twist your guts." "That's him!" I cried. "He's in my tummy. So now do you believe me, Mummy?" But Mummy answered nothing more, for she had fainted on the floor.
Now, our next performance will be Skylar Nichols. Now, Skylar sings and writes his own songs while he plays his guitar. And when asked why he likes to do it, he says it's just something he's always enjoyed.
This is a song that I wrote, and it's called Forever. I may not be that brave. I may not be that strong. I may not be that handsome. I may not be that tall. But I would do anything to keep you mine. 'Cause you are my one, and I will keep you forever. 'Cause you are my one. Hold on tight, I won't let go. I will be right here, you always know. Never leave your side, 'cause you are mine. And I want you to miss me. I would do anything. And I want you to miss me. I would do anything. And I would do anything to keep you mine. 'Cause you are my one, and I will keep you forever. 'Cause you are my one. Hold on tight, I won't let go. I will be right here, you always know. Never leave your side, 'cause you are mine. Thank you. This is a song called Rags to Riches. I wrote this one as well. And she weeps and sleeps through the sorrow. She knows there's no hope for tomorrow. Forget everything that's been swinging inside her head, and she won't make it her mission. She owns the forces to rid this, but she just repeats exactly what was said. You will never be anything. A tongue wasn't meant to compliment or to make you believe what it conceives. It's all just words to me. Oh, it's all just words to me. Oh, and she sold her moment for silver, her clothes, and gave in a winner in rest. And she will find her place inside the warmth, and you will never be anything. A tongue wasn't meant to compliment or to make you believe what it conceives. It's all just words to me. Oh, it's all just words to me. Oh, and just bless me, face me. I'm on my knees and need you to need me. I'm on my knees, oh, and just bless me, face me. I'm on my knees and need you to need me. I'm on my knees, oh. A tongue wasn't meant to compliment or to make you believe what it conceives. It's all just words to me. Oh, and to me. Oh.
We at Imagine Performing Arts were deeply saddened to learn of the passing of our friend and benefactor, Melvin Dice, and we would like to present this poem in his memory. The poem is entitled Let Evening Come, and it's by the Vermont Poet Laureate Jane Kenyon. Let the light of late afternoon shine through chinks in the barn, moving up the bales as the sun moves down. Let the cricket take up chafing as a woman takes up her needles and her yarn. Let evening come. Let dew collect on the hoe abandoned in long grass. Let the stars appear and the moon disclose her silver horn. Let the fox go back to its sandy den. Let the wind die down. Let the shed go black inside. Let evening come. To the bottle in the ditch, to the scoop in the oats, to the air in the lung, let evening come. Let it come as it will, and don't be afraid. God does not leave us comfortless, so let evening come.
Well, that concludes this evening's Imagine This. But before we go, out in the plains of Africa one day, there was 2 Cape buffalo, a small one and a large one. And they were eating, and the small one looked up at the large one and said, "Father, is there anything that I should be afraid of?" Well, his father thought for a while, and he said, "Yes, son, lions. You must always be afraid of lions." And his son thought for a second and said, "I know what I'll do, Father. If I ever see lions, I'll run as fast as I can and get away from them." And his father gave him a stern look and said, "No, son, never run from a lion." And the son said, "Why, Father?" And he says, "Because lions, if you run, they'll chase you. And if they chase you, they'll catch you. And if they catch you, they'll jump on your back and attack from your weak spots, and they'll kill you." And then the son thought and said, "But Father, what should I do?" And the father said, "If you see a lion," he said, "stand tall, stare him in the eyes, show him that you're not afraid. And if that doesn't work, show him your sharp horns, stomp your feet. And if that doesn't work, charge him and hit him with everything you've got." But he says, "Father, I'm small, and he may kill me." And the father said, "Son, look around you. What do you see?" And as he looked to his right and looked to his left, he said, "Father, I see huge buffaloes with broad shoulders and sharp horns." And he said, "Yes, son. Remember, if you run from your fears, we cannot help you. But if you charge your fears, we will always be here behind you, and we will help you defeat that foe." Now, at Imagine Performing Arts, we do many things. We do open mics. We do a Hullabaloo, which is a variety show that we use local talent. That's coming up in July. We do work with children. We do readings. We do plays. We do all kinds of things. And we love for new people to come and try and do things that maybe they're afraid. But remember, anything that you would do with us, we will always be there behind you to make sure that you succeed. And remember, don't ever let your fears stop you from doing anything, because then you will never have control of your life. From Imagine Performing Arts, good evening.